Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. How are you? I hope you are all happy and healthy, doing the things that you love, for those you love to do them with. Guys, do me a favor, smash the like button for me, as you always do as we get started on this Monday morning show. Does anyone else feel a little bit more engaged this morning? And I'm not talking about like you got drunk last night and got down on one knee to some tart. Not talking about that, even though we've been there before, haven't we, boys? We've been there before, haven't we, eh? I know you have. I certainly have a couple of times. Oh, that's absolutely fantastic night, my love. Absolutely terrific. Would you like to be my wife? I'm talking about engaged in our football team. There's Bugsy Malone, by the way. She's sitting on the donut costume. Well, she's thinking about it. She's thinking about it. I don't know what. Oh, she's doing something. She's having a scratch or something. Anyway, what is she up to? How are you feeling about the game? How are you feeling about Tottenham? I went to bed last night. I've got to be honest. I went to bed. I went on Savage show last night. All right, and the stuffing was taken out of my turkey. The jam was taken out of my donut. You know, like it's the first time that Tottenham Hotspur fans have had anything to be remotely happy about, remotely optimistic. Has anything meaningfully changed? No, right? Like nothing's changed in our points gap, our security, relegation fears, injuries. You know, it's still the same situation, but performances matter, energy matters. And I felt like I thought it was just such a needed boon to the spirits, you know? I felt like it was, I couldn't believe we got that goal. I was so happy. I came upstairs. I rushed upstairs to start the post-match. My heart was like pumping because I was so animated. I was so happy that Tottenham have fought back. It's been a while. And we show fight and we show determination. And we did it without some key players that have been around the team despite the rest of the injuries. And we worked as a team. You know, reminds me of that Any Given Sunday Al Pacino speech. I might even see if I can get the picture done, do the script, you know. On this team, we fight for that inch because we know when we add up all those inches, it's going to make the difference between fucking winning and losing, between living and dying. You know, we went to battle for the inch yesterday. Was it perfect? No. Was it ever going to be? No. We have 13 available players in our squad. We only put out 7 subs, 2 goalkeepers, 2 first-team options, and 3 kids. When we went to Anfield, yeah, they were poor. They were poor, sure. But we deserved at least a point. At least a point. So I was happy. I was like, come on. Come on. That's what you need. That's what you need. Right? That. Little things. Little acorns. Maybe it doesn't change anything, right? Maybe we get pumped by Atletico Madrid on Wednesday. Maybe Tudor doesn't deserve the reprieve. Maybe he's still not the right guy to get us through this. Maybe the fact that we got a point is added another spanner into the works, you know, regarding should we keep him, should we not? I'll tell you about the news because he has been confirmed that he is going to be taking charge of at least the press conference on Tuesday. So he's going to be there for the game on Wednesday, right? Oh, where have I gone? My bad. 1 second. Push the wrong button. That's what I'm looking for. But we can deal with that stuff today, right? Yesterday, I wanted to just be like, come on, Tottenham fans. Let's for once, let's have an evening where everyone's like a little bit bully, a little bit sort of bullish. Bullish is the word I'm looking for. A little bit bullish for once, because it's been bloody miserable to be a Tottenham fan. It's been horrible doing Tottenham content for the last 3 or 4 months. I spoke to you guys a couple of weeks ago saying, I don't know if I can do this much longer because like I'm someone who wants to be around positivity generally in life. I like to think that, you know, the cookie crumbles as it does. Put your best foot forward, you know, speak with a smile on your face. Smile and the whole world smiles back. But it's been difficult to smile as a Tottenham fan. And when you spend as much time talking about Tottenham as I do, it gets you down. So yesterday, I was like, let's do it. Let's get into it. And yet there's just, I don't know, there's just like a narrative. There's just people that just don't want to go in that direction. They want to remind everybody that of the reality of the pessimism of the glass half empty. I see it on Twitter. As I say, I was on Sava's show, the narrative. We spent 55 minutes. I love Sava to pieces. It's not about Sava, by the way. It's not about Lubo or Stella or anyone else that was on the show. There's a nice guy called Flicks, who I met. You know, love. It was nice. It was lovely people. Love them all. It's not criticism, just an observation. Not criticism, just an observation. But we spent the first 55 minutes of the show talking about Mathys Tel. And like trying to convince me that he had a fucking stinker, that he's shit. Because he has been shit in their opinion. It's settled science that he's not good enough. So let's talk about that rather than talking about the fact that 13 available players went to Anfield, a place where we never do well, and we've completely destroyed Liverpool's Champions League hopes. And just when you thought we couldn't get any worse, we actually come out and do something that gives us a reason to be optimistic. Just even for a minute. Just be a little bit optimistic. But no, not allowed to, because then you're called fake positive or whatever it is. I thought it was, I thought the game was something that I haven't seen in Tottenham for a long time, and a reason to give ourselves some sprightliness, you know? Anyway, how's everyone doing, guys? Don't forget to smash the like, smash the subscribe. As you can see, I've changed my name to Sean Shine because that's what we want to be this morning. A little bit. The Sean is shining outside in my part of the world. I hope it is where you are, and I hope it is in your heart. That maybe, just maybe, what we saw yesterday from a young group of players who fought and battled for each other, that we managed to get something, and that can be the turning point. It might not be. But for me, I don't know. Like I say, the jam was taken out of my donut, and it frustrated the life out of me. Let's see what the chat is doing. Let's to some of the members. Don't forget to smash the like button, guys. Don't forget to smash the subscribe. Big up to Elvis G. Big up to my man, Tony Rodriguez. Big up to Anaconic Arden. Big up to Thomas Mullen. Chucky our Law Spurs. Don't know what that means. Big up to Drewski. How are you, Drew? Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Absolutely fantastic, Drew. I hope you're okay, my man. Don't forget to smash like. Elvis G's in the house. Tot Spurs, member of the show. Big up to you. Good afternoon to you. 3 for all. Big up to you. The main things I noticed about yesterday were, 1, we looked a lot fitter, 100%. We were more direct. Yeah. Be interesting to look at distance covered. We outperformed Liverpool on distance covered. We outperformed Liverpool on yards run. We outperformed Liverpool on ground duels, man for man. I mean, Dominic Solanke, everyone's saying he had a terrible game. Well, he didn't create very much in comparison to Richalison getting on the end of my man Mathys Tel's solo outlet efforts. I can't believe people. I will die on this fucking hill that Mathys Tel is the new Ben Davies, the new Eric Dyer. Like, he's the scapegoat for people who want to say this squad is shit, and then the first name off the fucking lips of everyone who thinks that way is Mathys Tel. Geezer's got heart, he's got passion, he's asked to do a job. He had 5 successful take-ons yesterday in a game. Yes, he gave the ball away 20 times. So do all wingers that keep hold of the ball, by the way, and that try to take players on. That's what happens. He hasn't got a horrendous first touch. Sometimes he gets the black because he runs so close to the he keeps himself so wide. He runs like on the line. So occasionally they're going to go out, right? Occasionally. But he was responsible for every single chance that we created in that first half. When we were pinned back, he was the outlet. We had no support because Richalison was stuck in the penalty area. Solanke was stuck in the penalty area. The only people that were charging up were the people with the legs, Pape Sarr, and they were 10, 15 yards behind Mathys Tel. He cultivated the corner that led to the chance that was a fantastic save from Allison at the end of the half time. He also put the cross in for Richalison for his chance. Everything we did in the first half that was positive with the ball came through him. everything. And yet, I don't know. I honestly, I think people have made their minds up. People want to lean towards the negative. I find it fucking miserable, man. I find it so fucking pathetic and boring. It is what it is. Elvis G, big up to you. Top Spurs, big up to you. Big up to Daniel Field, 3 for all. Volkov, hi all. Cannot believe the negativity from the likes of Slavra and Stel. We didn't play great and Liverpool themselves were poor, but Christ, we never gave up. I just think you can get back to the whole misery loves company thing later on if you want to, because it probably won't last, right? But just like, I don't know, like in the moment, couldn't you be happy? Oh, I know Stel doesn't want to be happy because Stel actually didn't want us to win. I asked him because I went and watched Stel. I went and watched the goals. Stel did a watch along, and I went and watched the moment that Tottenham scored, and he went, "Oh no, Tottenham have scored." He literally went, "Oh no, Spurs have scored." And then he said, I told you, we scored. Now watch, I go and put money on 2-1. We're going to lose 2-1. I called it. I should have put money on it. Now, that didn't happen. It might happen had it not been for Radu Dragusin putting in a last-second block from Ekitike. Again, Dragusin getting, to some degree, correctly called out for his absolutely woeful passing in the game. He was absolutely shocking in the first half with his passing. His distribution was awful. Not getting back to full fitness. But again, in the second half, when we were throwing caution to the wind, and leaving 4 or 5 men up, which created this kind of wide open game, which, by the way, again, all of the context of the analysis goes out of the window when people have agendas or narratives that they want to push. Like, that's what happens in a game of football. When you're 1-0 down, the team that's 1-0 up sits back, absorbs, and then tries to counter because they know that the other team has to go and fight for it. So you're going to have those dynamics. We didn't see those dynamics under Thomas Frank because Thomas Frank was terrified of letting players go forward. Igor Tudor, for me, like I say, do I think he's the right guy? Probably not. We'll come to the fact that he's going to be staying here in a minute once I've got through my initial monologue. Do I respect the fact that he took some risks yesterday? 100%. Have I sort of been won over a little bit by the way that he treated that Sky interviewer, the Sky Sports journalist, who's an absolute disgrace, by the way? 100% I bought into that. And for what it's worth, as you will know if you watch Football Inc., I absolutely bought into the narrative that he was saying that Tottenham players need to stop being basically pussies, stop being victims, and strap on a fucking pair, because it ain't that bad, bro. It's just football, right? That's all it is. It's not like you've got PTSD. You shouldn't need mental health wellness checks. Micky van der Ven, can't look at my phone. It's awful. Grow up. And by the way, rumours out today all over Twitter that Micky van der Ven is the guy who's walking around saying, I don't care. I don't care if we go down. I've already spoken to my agent and they're trying to prepare me a move to Barcelona. Right? Thought it might be him. Vice captain of the football club. If that's true, fuck him. Off you go, bro. Off you pop. You know? Sorry, it's not on Twitter. It's on podcasts. It was on podcast. Was it a View from the Lane podcast or no? One of them, an Echo of Glory. I don't know. I'm not sure which one it was. I'll bring it up in the show. Right? I actually think that Igor Tudor is like his words, his demeanor. It's a little bit rough around the edges for sure. Does he really care? Because he knows he's out of here anyway. He's not got to clear up the mess if it doesn't go right. Probably not. Do I think he's the right guy? I don't know. Probably not. Right? I don't think he is. It doesn't really matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. It matters what the ownership think, and the ownership have decided to give him at least the Atletico Madrid game. By the way, massive news from that. Jan Oblak is injured. They've got to play their reserve goalkeeper, Musa, I think his name is, or Musa, M-U-S-S-A. Atletico Madrid fans saying, don't worry, guys, Musa's better than anything you've got, which is fine. That's probably true. But he's had a couple of stinkers as well recently. So maybe a little bit of luck is going our way. Again, could be all full storms. Could be all entirely full storms. I've got no idea. But in the moment, enjoy it. Life is about moments, right? The pursuit of happiness is a ridiculous pursuit. You're never going to be happy. Happiness is a thing that you can't achieve. You can achieve happiness in moments, or you can seek to pursue contentment. But don't seek happiness as a state of being that's a permanent thing, because it isn't going to work for you, because you participate in a consumer-based lifestyle where you're told it's always about the next thing. What you have is not enough. You're never going to be satisfied. You're never going to be happy unless you become some sort of like, I don't know, Buddhist monk. But happiness in moments is the best that you can achieve. And we should have been happy last night. But so many people chose the other way. Let's pour cold water over that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Winds me up. Can't listen to it. Cannot listen to it. You know? On this channel, we will go where the moment takes us. We will have our themes. We will have our trends. But if there's something to celebrate, you best believe we're going to celebrate it over here. And I thought your last night's performance was worth celebration and worth celebrating. I think to a man, those guys stood up as a team. As I say, it wasn't pretty. We weren't perfect. It wasn't like we smashed them. And Liverpool were poor. But like, Liverpool don't have the injury crisis we do. You know, we shouldn't like, I don't know, pull our own carpet from underneath our feet and not give ourselves any credit because the other team were poor. We've been the poor team so many times this season. Do the other team sit there, the other fan base sit there and go, oh, let's not give ourselves a pat on the back. It's Tottenham. They're shit. You know, of course they don't. They go fucking good. You know, good result. And I think Liverpool away, getting a point, and where you could have arguably won it, I think we had the better chances. I know they hit the post, but I think Richalison on another day gets a penalty. You know, again, PGMO, absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Like, not necessarily because it was 100% a penalty. It's 100% a penalty if the last one that happened on the same day was also a penalty. And if the one last week with Micky van der Ven was also a penalty, right? And a sending off, by the way. If those things are penalties, there's no discernible difference apart from Richarlison tries to be honest and stay on his feet, whereas the other two fall over like a fucking wet blanket. You're rewarded for play acting. So maybe that's a little bit naive on Richarlison's part. But you know what? Maybe Richarlison is reacting to the fact that for the last 2 years, everyone's been screaming and shouting at Richarlison, Tottenham fans primarily, to get off your fucking feet, Richie. You know? Either way, right? We have that chance. We have the brilliant stinger from Sousa. People saying, why the fuck did he play Sousa at right wing? Well, we don't have a right winger. Not a left-footed right winger that can cut in. He wanted to bring back balance. You know, sometimes left-backs can play right wingers. You see it with Patrick Dorgu at Manchester United. When he was at his previous club, he spent half the season as a left-back and half the season as a right winger. Because if you've got tricky technicality and you're left-footed, then you can either do that job, or if you are someone that leans towards your aggressive opposition, aggressive offensive work, then there's no reason why you can't play on the right wing and cut inside, right? We've got a right winger who's a left footer there in Sousa. Okay, it might be it's a temporary experiment. I don't think it failed, and I think Igor Tudor's taking a few, making a few experiments, taking a few risks. This one, it worked. Had it not worked, and by the way, I'm not even saying this just because we got the goal in the last minute. Had we lost the game 1-0, maybe my positivity wouldn't quite be as high, but my respect for the performance would have been exactly the same. Would have been exactly the same. Going to Anfield is never easy. I don't care what state Liverpool are in. I spoke to my Liverpool mate who's very balanced and everything. Spoke to him this morning and spoke to him last night. You know, he thinks that Arne Slot is a mess. He said he doesn't rate him. The team selections are horrendous. Yada yada yada. But at the same time, he said, no, credit where it's due. Tottenham battled and were a better team than Liverpool on the day. And I have to agree with him. And I respect people that come in and are honest in their demeanour. Big up to Graham Hill. Let's get back to the chat and say hello to some people. Big up. One step back from the cliff edge, 100%. 100%. I might be getting ahead of myself. Like I say, I'm not trying to sit here and say that suddenly Forest is 3 points or suddenly that we're going to get back into the Champions League last 8 conversation. I'm just saying, like, let's take a breath from the negativity. Let's take a breath from the precipice of, oh, what does it matter? I woke up this morning and I felt engaged again. The first thing I did when I opened my eyes was check Twitter. The next thing I did was go on to Sky Sports to watch the highlights. And I even spent time looking at the comments in Sky Sports, which is something I never do. Why? Because I felt like I cared again. I care. I mean, I care anyway. We always care. But like, have you not felt like over the last month, 2 months, like just the consistent bad luck, bad refereeing, injury after injury, knock after knock, everything that could go wrong, slips, goalkeeper faux pas, the decision-making from the board, the DOF making absolute disgraceful justifications for the most woeful January transfer window that Tottenham have ever conducted, given the circumstances. It's just one thing after another. And I woke up and just went, it feels good to wake up on a Monday morning and have something cheery to talk about. I think so, anyway. I think so. Big up to James. Rat-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Big up Chris. I can listen to someone who isn't a goddamn wet blanket. Listen, everyone to each their own. It's like I say, it's not criticism. It's an observation. But my opinion, I'm entitled to my opinion, is that people need to fucking get off the sorry box and back the team a little bit. You know, just for now. Just for now. If we get ridiculed by Atletico Madrid, then so be it, right? Get back on your soapbox. I don't care. But like, I don't know. People just don't want to. People just, misery loves company. Misery loves company. Enough said. Big afternoon. Big afternoon. Big afternoon. Good afternoon, big boy 77. Great name. Big up, Lukey. Big up to you, Dino. How you doing, my man? Big up to you, MJB. I'm baffled by some fans saying we're papering over the cracks. We know the situation, but all we can ask for at this stage is 100% effort. That's all anybody wanted. It's all anybody wanted. Like the people that were saying that Tottenham were like that there's nothing to be positive about, or like great result but shit performance, all that sort of thing. We were all every one of us were predicting 5-1 losses, 6-1 losses. I saw 7-1, 7-0, 4-1. People talking about by the end of this game, the goal difference that we have over Forest and West Ham is going to be null and void. So we draw the game 1-1, or even if we lost 1-0, all of that expectation, surely the expectation of yesterday was different to the reality, right? Surely the expectation was everyone universally said we were going to get pumped, right? Thumped, done, Dunsky. It's game over. Igor Tudor's out of here. We might as well have got rid of him after Madrid because we're just wasting another game, yada, yada, yada. We're not getting anything out of the game. We put in a performance where we're definitely worth a point. Arguably, you could say worth the 3 points if Richalison takes a couple of his chances, if a couple of things drop our way, if we finally get a refereeing decision that goes our way on a big moment, if Virgil van Disney finally gets some karma that come back his way, because that guy is the most protected fucking donut in Premier League history. Like, it's insane how often he gets away with murder. It's insane. If any of those things go our way, it might be 2-1. You know, another day, yes, it could have been 2-2. Yes, it could have gone either way, right? But you could easily make the argument, if you wanted to, if you put your Tottenham hat on, that Tottenham were worthy of 3 points if 3 points had come. If we happened to have won that game 2-1, I don't think Liverpool could have complained, right? If Tottenham had lost that game 2-1, I don't think maybe Tottenham could complain because we left ourselves wide open. But that is the consequence of the choice you make when you're 1-0 down and you throw more people forward, you leave caution to win. It's as old as time itself, right? Games don't often finish 1-0. They either finish 1-1 or 2-0 with a late goal because the team that's chasing has to do it that way. And then the team that's holding the lead gets the chance to break. Instead, I'm hearing, Tottenham were shit. We were carved wide open the entire second half. Why? We weren't carved open. We were played through because we left half the team up there because we're chasing the game. Hello? I mean, it's not fucking rocket science, but the context of the environment goes out of the window. I honestly don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't get it. I see it on loads of channels. Podcasts this morning, Twitter. You got two camps. You got the people that want to go, you know what, fair play, fucking reason to be cheerful. And then you got the people that want to go, la, 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 la. I'm not having this. I'm not having this. I am not going to allow anyone to think slightly positive things because that's not what we do here. It's absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. What's the chat saying? I love that Any Given Sunday speech, Rain. Yeah, it's a powerful one, mate. Absolutely powerful. Now we either we heal as a team or we die as individuals. That's football, guys. That's all it is. Fucking brilliant speech. Absolutely brilliant. That is a Tudor side. That is a Tudor side, says Futures Music. Be up to you. Betfred led the negative ones down. What does that mean? What did Betfred do? Who's Betfred? Afternoon, Sean. Hope you're well, mate. I'll be up to you, Tel. Yeah, you're going to see me at Forest, mate. You might even see me if you're going to the game. I might even, because it's my birthday on Wednesday. And I don't really have anyone around where I live. I don't know anyone. I grew up in this area and then I fucked off when I was 18 and then came back when I was 36 to move back in after I left my travel, like left America and all that stuff behind. And I didn't know where to go. So I came back to this area in Surrey. And then I got here and everyone that I knew growing up, funnily enough, had pissed off. So, don't have too many things to do on birthday. So I might actually go to the game, get up there really early, really early, and get on the old Maggie Nums, the Maganoo Nums, Magga the Nick Nums. That's what we're talking about. Volkov says, spot on. Sean, big up to you, Volkov. I hope you're okay. Jamie says, how can people predict a battering and be unhappy we get a point? There you go, mate. Take a bow, son. Simplified. You just said in one sentence what I was trying to say in the last... How long have I been going? 25 minutes. Thoughts on Susie yesterday, Diacon? Look, I think I love the fact that he had the stones to take that shot. Fucking love it. For a 19-year-old to get a little bit of space and to go, I'm doing this from 25 yards. And it was a stinger. And it whipped around. Like, you don't often see shots in the Premier League with these balls these days. First of all, you don't see players taking shots like that from that sort of distance because the data people have entirely ruled out doing that stuff. As I said, I think I said this on Football Inc. with Johnny. Football is ruined by the geeks. Just like life has been sort of ruined by the geeks in Silicon Valley, hacking our data, algorithmic cleansing, making you feed and feast on information that you either love or you hate so that you're polarized and divided. And the geeks, the engineers of the world, don't get me wrong, I appreciate what they're capable of with the AI stuff and all that. It's very clever. It's fun. But really, the geeks are ruining a lot of things, right? They're ruining childhood. They're ruining football. The data people have said, you don't XG, don't shoot from distance because XG suggests it's a low XG. The return on investment isn't there. So you just keep passing it around, shoehorning, try and find an outlet, which allows everyone to get back 5, 10, 8 men in the box. Then you get more shots, but you get more block shots than ever before. It's fucking boring. So first and foremost, back to the point. Geez, I'm on a waffle this morning. Sousa, congratulations for having the stones to take the shot. Second of all, the fact that it swung and spun in the air must have meant that he caught the valve and he caught it clean because it was like a bullet and it just went like this, which means that his technique is sensational. Unless he got lucky, but I would like to lean into the positive and say, great techers, son. And look, playing out of position, he got hooked in his previous game, didn't he? Previous start because of the Van der Ven sending off. I think it was that game. Was it Van der Ven or was it who was it? Romero? I forget who it was who got sent off for that game. And consequently, no, it must have been Van der Ven, right? To come back and have your second Premier League start against Liverpool away, again, difficult place to do it. I thought he did really well. I think he struggled a little bit with positional sense when they had the ball in the first half. I don't think he knows quite how to defend. I don't think he can get back, especially if playing out of position. I don't think he's ready defensively, if I'm entirely honest, guys. But I like his speed. I like his footwork. He's got a nice pass in him. We'll have a look at the stats in a minute. And like I say, yeah, I'm going to give him a well done. Give him a 6 out of 10. There wasn't too many players that got more than a 6 out of 10 for me yesterday. I think Danzo got a 6. Danzo got an 8. Richalison gets an 8. I think most of the others get 6s because they all had in different games. They all had moments where they made mistakes, and they all had moments where they played well. Like I thought Pape Sarr won the vast majority of his duels, his ground duels yesterday. Dominic Solanke won 80% of his ground duels. Jed Spence won every ground duel that he had. Reasons to be optimistic. Reasons to say You don't win those ground jewels unless you're fighting for something. And again, what is the takeaway from the game? What's more important? Is it the point? Or is it the fact that the players seemed like they wanted it? They didn't let their heads drop when we went 1-0 down, which can't be considered the same. You can't say the same. In recent games, we scored, what was it? 5, we conceded 5 against Atletico Madrid, 4 in the first half. We conceded 4 against Arsenal, 3 against Crystal Palace. When we concede, our heads drop. Didn't happen against Arsenal. It didn't happen yesterday against Liverpool. Why? If you want to lean into the negative, you say, well, Liverpool didn't go after us, right? And in fact, I spoke to my Liverpool friend and he said, you know what? I was absolutely disgusted with the way that Arne Slot set their team up. Yes, you can make the argument about playing certain players that didn't play and, like all these sorts of things. Curtis Jones should have been playing, yada, 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 Ekitike, etc. But he also said that he was disgusted with the fact that Tottenham were so vulnerable. And he said, if I was manager, I would have told the Liverpool players, swarm Tottenham in the first 10 minutes, right? Swarm them, press, pressure, like force them into really difficult situations and see what happens, which is exactly what Crystal Palace did. Every time Tottenham got the ball, there were 2 men on us immediately, and it made it really difficult. Liverpool didn't do that. They stepped off us. They allowed us to have space. They allowed us to do things with it, and it was a fairly open game. And so he was furious. So, yeah, you could make the argument, a different environment, if Liverpool started the game better, all that stuff. But these are all if, buts, and maybes, and what I say, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, then I'd be a fat cunt. Something like that. I don't know. I've just demonetized my stream. Damn it! Oh, no! He's done it again! What are we doing here? First slurp, by the way. I think. Actually, it doesn't feel like it's my first slurp. It feels like it's my second slurp. But I'm not making. I can see people in the comments talking about Sava. It's not that Sava specifically. Sava was the show that I went on. Sava's show was the show I went on. Rain was on it. Lubo was on it. Stel was on it. The other guy, Flix, was on it. I just felt like the entire energy of the show for the first hour wasn't about Tottenham doing well. It was about, let's have a debate about, convincing everybody that Sean's wrong about Mathys Tel being absolutely shit. I will die on the hill that Mathys Tel has offered more for Tottenham in the last 4 or 5 games consistently than the vast majority of other players. Yet some people have made their minds up. And feel free to make your minds up. I just have a problem with the fact that it's the first opportunity for Tottenham fans to have a positive conversation, and instead it was a battle of wits around justifying how shit someone is who didn't play badly, in my opinion. And I will die on that hill. He's raw. He's got mistakes in him, 100%. But I don't think he played badly. Afternoon, Spurs, Joe. I'm miles behind in the chat. Let me catch up with the chat, see what everyone's doing. That point was a big relief, 100%. Sean, can you sit in silence for 18 minutes so I can catch up, says John. Mate, one thing I can't do is sit in silence, I interrupt myself in my sleep, When I'm trying to meditate, I keep interrupting my own thought patterns. Shut up, Butler. No, you shut up. I'm talking. We need some hope. Lubo's bit on the side. 100%. At least Tel was trying to take on players. That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about, Pelnick. Like the context of the environment, right? He was our outlet. He's not Mohamed Kudus. He doesn't have sticky toffee feet like Mohamed Kudus does. But like Kudus doesn't cross the ball as well as Mathys Tel, for what it's worth. I'm not making out like Mathys Tel is the best player. I even said this. I feel like the Mathys Tel debate is the same reason I took on the Daniel Levy debate 4 years ago, because I just feel like people make unreasonable commentary about things where they have an ulterior motive, an agenda, and they'll sit there and say 25 years of abject failure, Daniel Levy's a cancer and a parasite, yada, yada, yada. And I'm not sitting there saying that Daniel Levy's flawless, he's perfect, but I'm not going to sit there and have someone tell me that he's the worst thing ever and that he's this and that and the other, and manipulate the conversation to allocate luck and fortune where good things have happened and it's just by design, and competence and incompetence when bad things happen. Like, you should be able to have balance and say he's sometimes good, sometimes bad. He's good in these areas, bad in these areas, whatever, right? Which I'm more than happy to do. But when you have people saying it's all bad, then if you just sit there and say, actually, it's not all bad, then you're considered to be the guy who's saying it's all good. And I think it's the same with Mathys Tel. I'm not going to sit there and listen to people tell me he's fucking shit. I don't think he is. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying he's world class. I'm just saying he's not as bad as you guys say he is. And I will defend him on that basis, because I don't know. He doesn't owe me anything. I don't owe him anything. But I just think that it's unreasonable, and I want reason and logic in the conversations that I have. If I'm not hearing it, I'm going to call it out. Let's get to the super chiddly chit chats. Big up to Ulrika Ratata. Thank you so much for the super chat, miss. I hope you're okay. Get out of the bath, dry your bits, pour yourself a G&T. We got Tottenham to talk about, Ulrika. We got Tottenham to talk about, but as you brought in the super sticker train, chew to you. Big up to you. Thank you very much indeed. Sunny is Life says, people just want to speak their agenda, Sean. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think people want to they like to lean the way that they are. I think people like lean certain ways because that's the environment in which I was talking to Johnny. You know, Johnny's much like me. I don't want to surround myself with people who are doom and gloom. Pour me another. I mean, you can pour me another. Definitely pour me another. But do so with a smile on your face. Let's celebrate, baby. You know? That's what I'm thinking. But other people like to, like, misery loves company. People like to surround themselves with the energy in which they present themselves with. And that's just not for me. So it's just, I found the after game. I mean, I love Hugo to pieces. Hugo came in with that sort of energy as well. Hugo came in quite sort of like dour and like, oh, come on now. Let's, nothing's changed. I'm like, yeah, we'll get to that bit, Hugo, but can't we just fucking go, where play? Can't we just go, come on? 5 minutes, like, because it was a late goal as well. So I'm like bouncing around the room downstairs, fly up here, go live, do my thing, click, bring in Hugo. Hey, wow, bloody hell. I mean, it's okay. I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Come on, Hugo, for fuck's sake, mate. What are we doing here? We just scored an equaliser at Anfield. And it was Richie. Relegation Richie, by the way. He's like a man possessed. He's got that Superman thing, a big giant R underneath his shirt. He definitely bleeds blue for Everton, doesn't he? Because he does come alive against Liverpool. But listen, if we can get that sort of performance out of Richie for the rest of the season, keep him fit, keep him motivated. And obviously he said so, didn't he? He said, look, I want to stay fit. I've got a World Cup to think about. And I don't care. Like, as much as I've always known that he's country before club, that's fine. As long as your pursuit of improvement for your country benefits us. Which is one of the things I always used to say about Romero. Romero was also, a lot of South American players are. They got like sort of national pride like you wouldn't believe. And that's fine, right? That's their culture. It's absolutely fine. But don't not be available, or don't like shirk challenges or feign injury or whatever in the weeks leading up to an international tournament, because you don't want to risk that when you're getting paid by essentially me and you, right? We are the ones that pay. It's not Daniel Levy that pays their salary. He's the guy that writes the check, but he gets that money from us. So if I'm paying your wages, Christian, then I expect you to put in 100% for us that will hopefully then benefit you when you go and play for them. And as far as Richie goes, like I say, relegation Richie is an unbelievably engaged employee, player, leader. He fights, and he's got a different level to him. So I hope he's fit. I hope he's available for the game on Wednesday. And I really hope he's up for it on Sunday as well. I really do. Big up to you, Sunny is Life, for that one. Rain's coming. Loving the energy, Sean. Am I a negative Nancy now? You were surprisingly downbeat yesterday, Rain. So yes, I'm going to call you a negative Nancy. In the moment, I was surprised, because you're usually someone that comes in and matches the energy of the moment. But I did think there was a bit of a. I thought the whole show was about things that we should have been talking about, like the good stuff, and we weren't. You know? Talking about things that didn't matter. I don't know. Here's what it is. It just took the jam out of my donut. That's all. And I like my jam in my donut. See it down there? No jam. Son jam. Big up to you, Rain. Appreciate you, mate. Sunny is life says the effort is what we need to continue. 100%. 100%. It begs the question, what do we do with Romero and Micky van der Ven? Like I say, I know Dragusin had tough moments, right? Obviously, Liverpool break. Half of our team are stuck up the other end of the pitch. He's basically isolated against Mo Salah. Mo Salah's a terrifying prospect. Radu Dragusin's not that mobile. He sort of heads it back towards the keeper, tries to get towards the keeper. Keeper's stuck on his 6-yard box, gets all sort of kerfuddled or whatever. And obviously Salah gets a shot away. Great save from Vicario. And he did give the ball away loads of times. But I actually thought Radu Dragusin grew into the game generally. And I thought playing on the left-hand side, which isn't his natural position, he was asked to kick the ball with his left foot. He's a right-footed defender. You know, is there any context to that? Or are we just going to sit there and say, you know, he made mistakes, therefore that's all that matters. He's shit, or he played shit. Are we giving any leeway? Are we ever going to bake in any of the environmental factors that impact how things become what they are? Or are we just going to say he played shit, therefore shit? Up to you guys. I like to look into the minutiae a little bit and think about, is something just a straight yes or no? Or is it like a yes, but, or is there a shade of grey? For me, I thought Dragusin did a good job in the second half because he was isolated. He was left back, you know, left back to handle. I mean, towards the end, it was handling Ekitike as well, you know. And Kevin Danso, by the way, I know Kevin Danso's already got his flowers, but the man was clearly playing injured as well, right? After about 35 minutes, he bent down on the floor, did like a squat and banged the grass. Clearly his toe is not right. Clearly his toe is not right. Did he moan? Did he roll around on the floor, getting the medical team on? That just banged the ground in frustration, got up and got on with it. Fucking leader, champion, like absolute warrior. That guy is absolute warrior. I'm going to get his name on my shirt next season. I'm making that call right now because I'm confident that even if we do go down, he'll still be at the football club. And do you know what? If all the other fuckers piss off, if that happens, make him captain. He's got that Ledley King spirit about him. It's not the same standard, nowhere near. But he's an absolute fighter. He's very good in the air. You know, the only bad game I've seen him put in, the only really terrible shift I've seen from him where he was exposed was against Newcastle away in the cup when he was on the left-hand side and he was just all at sea with his jumping. But I don't think that he is. I think that he's, I won't even say underrated because I think all Tottenham fans respect him. But he's one of those players that I think that you look at and go, you know, value, right? Who identified him? Was that Johan Lang? You know, Johan Lang did well on that one. I'll give him credit for that one. It's about all I'll give him credit for because still can't get over the fact that Johan Lang thought, you know what, it's difficult to do business. There's nobody available in January because of the Champions League, Europa League finishing late and all that stuff, which is true, but it doesn't mean that there's no one available. There's just no one available that they wanted to pay. And he also justified it by saying some players are going to come back soon. Who has come back? We've lost more players. We've lost more and more and more players. Absolute donor. Everyone makes mistakes in life, but you do have to face the consequences of your errors. And like I don't know why he's still employed. I honestly don't. Someone get me Dougie Freedman in. Let that guy rebuild us. Let that guy go and find the next Eze, the next Elise, the next Mateta. You know, how exciting would that be? I know Tottenham fans probably wouldn't be on board it because they wouldn't know who these players are. Just like when Danzo signed, no one knew who he was. Oh, who the fuck is this guy? Another fucking shit signing from Tottenham. Well, I think most people will at least give the club the credit for getting that right. Good value trade. But yeah, Johan Lang's got to go. Elvis G. I'm on that Tel and Danzo hill with you, Sean. Big up to you, Elvis. Join the hill. Plenty of space on the Tel hill, mate. Plenty of space, bro. It doesn't even need to be a hill. You know? Could be an ant hill. There's still enough space for more. I just don't get it. Big up to you, Elvis. Appreciate you, mate. Appreciate you. Georgie, F9, P2S. Big up to you, George. £2 super sticker. Choo-choo to you. Choo-choo to you, my man. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. And Sniffer, my man from Newcastle. Big up to you, Sniff Dog. Hope you're okay, my man. Hope you are keeping happy and healthy. He said, keep smiling, Shawnee. Some people can't be wrong. Yeah, well, appreciate you, mate. Again, I just think it's more around, like, I don't think it's about being right. I think people just want to, like, they just are, like, I think it's easier to predict failure than it is to be happy or to predict optimism or to get on board optimism. Because I guess, like, this will be used against me, right? Should we lose against Nottingham Forest, people will say, and that Butler, he got all fucking bullshit after the Liverpool game. See? You know, I was right. Yeah, if you want to be right, if that's your raison d'etre in content, if all you want to be is right, listen to all the soon to become content creators, right? Anyone that's watching this who wants to be a content creator, if you want to do it because you want to be right and you want to be applauded and everyone tell you were right after the fact, just lean negative. Just lean towards negative, because failure is far more consistent and far more likely than success, even in the most successful teams. And if you happen to be a team like Tottenham, then it's going to happen 99 times more often than successes, right? That's just how it works in football. So if you want to be in content so people can tell you, oh, look, you were right about that. If that's your game, then just say everything's shit. Just always find a reason to moan. Always find a reason to sit there and say, this player's not good enough. That player's not good enough. This manager's shit. We're not good enough. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. Because you'll end up being right. Because if winning trophies is the only way that you can be wrong, well, how often does that happen? You know? That's not really what I'm about. I just want to feel what I feel and speak what I want to speak and hear what you guys say. You know, I don't really care if you agree or disagree with me. I'd like it if you agree with me, because that would be cool, right? It'd be nice to have common ground. But if you don't, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But don't take the jam out of my fucking donut. That's all I'm saying, okay? Don't take the jam out of my donut. That's all I want. Big up to Box Kev. Big up to Boxy, who's still out in Japan. Time zones in Japan have all messed up. They've messed me all up. Have me all messed up. There you go. Did I wake up seeing that we drew a point at Anfield? We did, Kev. We did. He's just catching up. Yeah, we did, mate. We did, and it was a great performance as well, in my opinion. A resilient, dogged, spirited, well-earned point against a team that we so rarely do anything against. And I choose to live in this moment with a smile on my face, because Tottenham surprised me to the upside. Will it last? Probably not. But for now, in this moment, cheers. And thank you very much, Boxy, for the as always, my man, as always. What are you doing in Japan? You on holiday, vacation, or are you working? Johnny's going over to Japan and Korea for a few weeks in a week's time or 2 weeks' time. So Football Inc. might not have as much content going on. So yeah, he loves a fucking holiday. He loves a holiday, doesn't he, old Johnny boy? Like Johnny Hollypop's what we should be calling him. Fucking loves a holiday, that man. Big up to you, Kev. Thank you so much, mate. Thank you so much. Very, very generous. Very, very, very generous indeed. Danzo reminds me of Dino Richards. R.I.P. R.I.P. Dino. Yeah, I don't really remember Dean Richards as a player. I can't remember what he was like. He was good in the air, wasn't he? Good in the air, solid in the air. Sometimes Lee says you have to forget about the bigger picture and live in the here and now. We can have the discussion on the players in the summer. Right now, we need to concentrate on staying up. 100%, Lee. 100%. 100%, mate. You know? And like I say, it's not always about technicality. In this moment, you need players that are going to fight. Like how is it that relegation fodder teams generally at this stage of the season, like over the last 25 years, how is it that those guys go out and scrape and find their way to 3 points here and 3 points there? And you see this lift in momentum from teams that have had bad fortune or bad performances for the previous sort of 25, 30 games of the calendar year. You know, it's because the teams that stay up, they don't clearly have as good technical players as other teams, but what they do have are people that want it more than the other. Again, goes back to the any given Sunday, right? Like, it's the person who wants to die for that inch in any fight. It's the person who's willing to die that wins. You know, and that's what you need. You need the footballing version of that in our players. And that's what I think you have in Richalison. That's also what I think you have to some degree in Mathys Tel. Neither of those players are technically sensational. You could easily name 20 Premier League strikers that are technically better than Richalison. But do all of them have the heart that he has for this sort of environment? Maybe not. Mathys Tel was completely thrown under the bus by successive managers, never played until Igor Tudor comes in. He had 3 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 7 minutes there, 10 minutes there throughout the season when the game was dead and gone. But yet every single time he put on the shirt, came on the pitch and chased down blind alleys and fought. And that's where I've got my respect for him. He absolutely doesn't let the frustration of what he probably perceives as bad treatment, of maltreatment, to affect his effort. You need those sorts of people in games like this. And yet some people are just not willing to give an inch on their perspective that he's just a shit footballer. Again, whatever. I've spoken my piece on that one. And I think Kevin Danso banging the ground because his foot was killing him in the 35th minute and finishing 95 minutes. Champion stuff. Like absolute warrior stuff. It's what you need. It's what you need. And I've got to be honest, I was pleasantly surprised by Jed Spence yesterday. I thought he was one. I still think he's a bit of a donut. I do. I think the guy's a bit of a donut. But I got to be honest, right? You win every single duel. You win every single duel. Can't ask more than that. You can't. Can't ask more than that. That's fight. If you don't care, then you don't go into any duel giving a shit. You really don't. Does he have like half an eye hoping that he's going to be in the England squad? Maybe. I mean, Tommy Tuchel doesn't seem to have forgiven him or whatever for perceived bad behaviour. But either way, credit where it's due. You know, Pedro Porro had a bit of a tough game yesterday, didn't he? I thought he had a stinker with the ball. But he's for sure someone that fights. He's got a fight about him. And Pape Sarr. I mean, when was the last time anyone spoke about Pape Sarr's physical duels? Most people that compliment Pape Sarr will talk about his ability to cover ground, his ability to interpret the game, to anticipate what's going to happen, to intercept, and to sort of get back and, you know, to chase with that sort of long legs of his, daddy long legs, to be able to get back and throw in some work. But you don't often talk about his passing because his passing is horrendous. And you certainly don't often talk about his physical duels because he's not strong enough. But he won 85, I think it was 80%. Let me have a look. Pretty sure it was 80% of his duels yesterday. Let's have a look. Where are we? Liverpool. Here we go. Pape Sarr, defensively, 8 defensive contributions, 4 clearances, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles, 9 recoveries. He won 5 of his 6 ground duels. Pape Sarr won 5 of his 6 ground duels against Gravenberch and McAllister. You know? McAllister was shocking yesterday, I thought. Absolutely shocking. Yeah, ground duels. Alexis McAllister had 12 ground duels and only won 2 of them. What a fall from grace he's had. I don't know if that's because of Florian Wirtz coming in and he usually takes a bit more, like he plays a bit more forward normally. You know? Obviously, when Curtis Jones come on, Szoboszlai moved a bit more forward. It was, I don't know. Listen, Liverpool weren't great, right? Bad performances from them. But you have to give credit where it's due. Alexis McAllister gets bodied in the midfield by Archie Gray. And when did Archie Gray win? Oh, Archie Gray didn't have any ground duels. Fucking hell. 0 from 0 ground duels for Archie Gray. 3 defensive contributions, 2 interceptions and 1 clearance and 4 recoveries. God, Archie Gray didn't do very much yesterday, did he? He had 10 carries for 34 meters, so 3 meters a carry. Archie Gray only touched the ball 34 times. 0 shots on target, 0 goals, 0 shots blocked, 2 crosses, 0 accurate. His passing, he passed the ball 24 times, 80% accuracy. What the fuck did Archie Gray do? He only touched the ball 34 times in the middle of the pitch. He gave the ball away 9 times out of 34. Gave the ball away 9 times out of 34, and yet everyone's telling me that Tel was the first name on the stinker list. What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? I see this weird not Tom Destiny. I didn't sort of think that Archie Gray had a bad game, but just looking at the stats there, that's he didn't do anything. The game passed him by, it looks like. Was it McAllister that won the cheap free kick? Yeah. I don't know. Was it a cheap free kick, Hugo? I don't know. I've seen some people saying, I saw someone on Twitter saying, Liverpool don't get anything. It's an absolute disgrace. If anything, it's a foul on Sousa, because Sousa plants his foot and the other guy and McAllister kicks it. Now, I said that in the WhatsApp group as like a bit of banter. I didn't mean it. But I don't know. I think that was a clear foul, because you can't put your foot in front of someone who's running. That's obviously a trip, isn't it? You're just tripping someone up to some degree. It's not just a trip if you leave your foot off the ground. If you plant your foot and someone's running into it. But either way, yeah, I'm not sure it was a cheap free kick, but fantastic free kick from Szoboszlai. But first of all, the position of the wall was horrendous. The position of who was it that was lying down? Was it Sousa or was it Tel that was lying down? I forget who it was that was lying down, but he was lying in an area that was never going to get ever approached by Szoboszlai. And I mean, less said about Vicario for that, the better. I mean, he got his feet. He looks like he had his shoelaces tied together. Should Vic save it? 100%. 100% he should save it. 100%. It was in the centre. Like Jamie Carragher's right. It was a very well hit free kick. It was super fast. Like he's put his foot right through it. But he gets a palm to it. But he's got fucking poppadom hands. Definitely should have saved it. But his footwork. He's sort of like doing like twinkle toes, trying to sort of dance across. But then, what does Vicario do then? He put a couple of minutes later, he puts in a worldie save against Cody Gakpo. I think you can make the argument as well that maybe Salah's shot was going to be on target. I don't know. It was so close to the save was sort of Vicario was quite far out when he saved it. So you don't know, but I'd say that was probably going to go in. So yeah, but then Roy Keane would say he's just doing his job, right? He's just doing his job. He's doing his job, you babies. I don't know. Goalkeeper makes saves. Yeah, exactly. That's their job to do, isn't it? That's their job. Richie is suspended for Wednesday. Yes, Graham, he is indeed, my man. He is indeed. Indeed, he do. What else was I going to say to you guys? Oh, yeah, let's talk about this thing. So Igor Tudor, right? Igor Tudor. So Igor Tudor has been given the job. Now, I need to ask you guys, is Igor Tudor putting in a shift? Does it change your mind? One for you, or not even change your mind, in fact, because that would assume that you wanted him gone already. Do you still want Igor Tudor to be sacked today, or do you think that performance buys him? Forget about what the club want, because the club obviously made their decision. He is going to be here for the Atletico Madrid game. Do you think that Igor Tudor's message got through to the players? If so, then that's awesome. Because I concur with his message. And I've got to be honest, like I said at the start, I actually feel like I'm starting to like the guy with the fact that he's just like absolutely no fucks given, not going to care when that Sky commentator donut was doing what he was doing. But do you think this is a potential banana skin? Because if we did get beaten yesterday, and we played badly, I would imagine that we'd be dealing with the conversation today about Igor Tudor being sacked. And then it will be, well, who comes in? Are we going to bring in Robbie Keane? And if so, what do you have to make? What offer do you have to give to him to get him to come in? Well, he probably needs to come in on an 18-month or at least, right? Or 2 years. But you also don't have to go, look, Robbie, you're going to be here if we go down. You're going to stay with down. You're going to go down with the ship and hopefully bring us back up. New project. And then Pochettino gets shelved. If you really want Pochettino and you were to sack Igor Tudor, then you have to bring in another temporary. And who's that going to be? Well, that basically offers you like only a couple of options, doesn't it? In all likelihood, a temporary option is going to be Harry Redknapp or Tim Sherwood or Glenn Hoddle, one of these types. And, you know, they're going to come in with the same, you know, you've got to sack all of Igor Tudor's guys. One guy that Igor Tudor's assistant manager hasn't even arrived yet. You know, he's probably getting paid, but he hasn't even arrived yet. Imagine if you get sacked and given a full contract payout without ever actually doing a day's work. good earner if you can get it, you know. But I don't know. Look, I think I'm of the opinion that had we lost yesterday and lost badly in a bad way, like even if we only lost 1-0, but we didn't put up a fight in any way, shape, or form, I would say, yeah, get rid of him. And then you might as well roll the dice. He's clearly not the guy. He might still not be the guy, but I am torn now because if you sack him anyway, if you still want him sacked anyway, then what was the point of giving him yesterday? If Tottenham, if I'm talking about the owners here, if Tottenham's owners sacked him yesterday, regardless of what happened, then you might as well have not bothered giving him the game. So there has to be some merit, some recognized reward, or at least not reward, but like outcome for delivering an unexpected result. He has earned himself a reprieve. Clearly, the club is saying we're going to give you until at least the Atletico Madrid game. Now, what's enough to see from the Atletico Madrid game to give him a reprieve until the Forest game? Bearing in mind that the Forest game is the biggest game, arguably, Tottenham have had to play in years. It's arguably bigger than the Europa League final. It really genuinely is, because the financial consequences of going down are bigger than the financial consequences of getting into the Champions League in terms of lost revenue versus earned revenue. 100 million versus 250. And if we win the game against Forest, I think that will be enough alongside the momentum to be able to get a couple more results before in the final 7 games to be able to believe that we're going to be in the Premier League next year. But if you don't do it, if you lose that game, then I think it's curtains again. And then you have the international break, but you're only given the next guy 7 games, right? And the most important one of those games is arguably already gone. And then you will have to lick your wounds and say you stuck with the guy based on one good performance and one good result, but you overlooked the previous 4 shit shows. It kind of throws a spanner into the works. So I do want to get your thoughts, guys. 1s and 0s, right? Do you think it's right? If you think it's right that Igor Tudor is still in charge today and going into the next games, hit a 1. If you would still like him to be sacked anyway, then put a 0. Or if you think he should have been sacked already anyway. Give me 2 seconds, guys. 1 sec. Sorry about that. What are we going? So we're seeing the 1s and the 2s coming in. 1 for Boxy. Big Archie Boxy. 1. Taylor wants to go. Wants him out. I want him out. Robin Davis, 1. Destiny, 1. Matthew, 1. Simon doesn't know what he wants. Ted from R&D doesn't know what he wants. Fiona, 1. All right, so most of you... Oh, Ted's gone to a 0. Oh, Ted didn't know what we were... Ted thought we were going 1s and 2s. We're going 1s and 0s, mate. That's what we do around here. Ted wants a 0. Adam scored draw lock stuck on the fence. One, 0, 0, 0. Yeah, I think most of you are thinking Rob's a 0, 0, 0. Fair enough. Momentum is everything, but Fiona, you're absolutely right. Momentum and fight. And hopefully we can turn this around a little bit. Big up to Cookie Bite. We are binary. Yeah, exactly. We're binary here, Fiona. What was I saying about those digital donuts in Silicon Valley? Those geeks have ruined the world. They've ruined my organization of my stream because I've sucker punched into going binary. 100%. This is the problem, though, right? So most of you think he should say. I would imagine most of you thought 24 hours ago, this time 24 hours ago, well, he's going to be sacked tonight anyway, and maybe he should have been sacked after Atletico Madrid. So one performance has given you enough to think, okay, give him one more game. Now, what needs to happen in the Atletico Madrid game to give you pause for thought for the Forest game? If we go and lose 3-0 in the Atletico Madrid game, and then it's 8-2 on aggregate, which might happen, by the way. Again, context of the environment. 5-2, we have nothing to lose. We have to throw everything at it. It's going to be a gung-ho, wide-open game of football. Tottenham Hotspur, from the minute go, are going to have to throw caution to the wind. Right? You've got 90 minutes to score at least 3 goals, probably 4, because we know what happens with the Vicario penalty shootout. It's as good as given that if they hit the target, they're gonna score all of their goals, because Vicario doesn't even guess the right way, let alone save penalties. So we have to score 4 goals in 90 minutes. What does that mean? Well, it means that we're going to have to throw all of our eggs into that kind of Ange Ball type bucket, which means we're going to get cut open. Right? At some point we are. And then can we get back? Can we get back? Can we recover? Can we make saves? Can we keep the ball out of the back of the net? So it might be that Tottenham are 2-0 up inside the first half, right? And then we've got an unbelievable second half to come. It might also be that we're 2-0 down at halftime because we get picked off. If that happens, does it change your Igor Tudor stance? Or are you going to respect the fact that Igor Tudor says, just go for it, guys. Go for it. It literally is a free hit. No one's expecting us to get through. But if we get an early goal in the first 10 minutes, you better believe the atmosphere in the ground if it's going to be busy. I think after Liverpool, I think the tickets are going to sell for that game now. I'm going to go and buy my ticket after this. I didn't order my ticket. I'm going to buy my ticket. I'm going to buy my ticket after this show's finished because I want to be there. Because I like I say, I'm engaged again. This is the point of the show, right? This is what I feel. I feel like I've suddenly got a renewed vigor because Tottenham did something yesterday I wasn't expecting them to do, and it might not last very long, but whilst it's here, I want to go and enjoy it. So I'm going to go on Wednesday. I'll certainly be there on Sunday. By the way, there's a big organisation thing going on. I wish the guys, some people reached out to me. A guy I met in Bilbao reached out to me. He's part of he's a big sort of young guy, but he's obviously involved in the kind of the away army people, the fans who travel. He reached out and said, "Oh, we're going to be organising something for the Forest game. Do you want to be involved in the organisation?" And I said no, but only because I wasn't going to be going to the game. I said, there's no point in me organising it. I'll certainly pass any message on to people. I kind of wish I'd got involved now because I'm going to be at the game because it's massive. And, you know, my head's been turned. My head has been turned by yesterday's performance. And you know what? Why not? Why not? But Igor Tudor, it's a massive decision from Tottenham Hotspur on what to do. Because it's too late. If he's still here, for the Forest game and we lose and the players, you know, go back to being the way they have been, and then we fuck up against Forest, it's too late, right? That was the chance because Forest will then be ahead of us, and then our heads will drop, and then you bring in a new manager and you've got 7 games to save it. I think it's too little, too late. So it's all about the Forest game for me. And Igor Tudor is the guy. I think he's going to be the guy now. So let's just hope that the players... I really hope that whatever happened in the dressing room after that game... I've got a really itchy nose this morning. I apologize. I really, really hope that the mood in the dressing room after applauding the Tottenham fans, seeing the Tottenham fans singing their songs, you know, I hope that the mood in the dressing room was buoyant. I really hope that they gave themselves all a pat on the back, that there was a better lift in energy. And I really hope that Igor Tudor said something that, you know, made them not even like him. I don't care about whether they like him, but like respect him and that he found the right words in the right order to kind of reinforce that message. You see what it's like when you stand up for yourself and you stop acting like, you know, everything's against us, and you get on with it anyway, and you drive and you grind and you grit and you figure something out, and you get the reward that is just desserts. Isn't that like a well-earned feeling of like pride and confidence and something to use as a mobility mechanism to be able to, you know, to get more things coming, more good vibe? Because I don't think they felt anything but shit for the last however long. So I really hope that if they got on the plane home or they got on the coach home or whatever, I really hope that their spirit was bouncing, and that this isn't just a short-term bounce, and then we're going to just regress back to whatever. And that's why Wednesday night is probably more important than we realize. Even if we lose the tie, win the game. Win the game. Right? The tie might be beyond us. You might lose the war, but you can win the battle. And Atletico Madrid are not that great. They're certainly not that great away from home. And they haven't traveled well in Europe, into England in the past. Their defense is very get-atable. Let's be entirely honest. We could have scored 2 or 3 goals in that game more than we did. They're losing Jan Oblak, right? They might rest players. They might rest some players because they think they just got to nurture what they have, and they probably got, I don't know if they've got a big game or what coming up on the weekend. But these things for me are like, there is a chance there, but I'm not expecting Tottenham to go and win the tie. And even if you do win the tie, you know, in all likelihood, you're definitely going to have Barcelona or Newcastle coming up next. Is that like a necessary distraction? I think Alex Axitos made a good point. He said, if we win the game 3-0 and it goes to extra time, do you really want the additional 30 minutes when you've got no subs? You've got no options off the bench, right? Do you really like the players were fucking shattered yesterday? They were absolutely like gonzoed by the end. Pape Sarr like collapsed on the pitch at the end of the game. Yeah, good, like amazing, well done. Right, you've got 72 hours, not even that now. What you got? What is it today? Monday. So we've got 48 hours, 54 hours, something like that. Today's recovery. Tomorrow is tactics. Probably like, I hope they're not doing fucking fitness tests still, right? But the players do look fitter. The players are starting to look fitter, you know? And like I say, you can measure the investment and the intent of a team by their activity in the duel, whether they care or they don't. Dominic Solanke, everyone thinks that Dominic Solanke was shit yesterday. Well, comparatively to Richalison, he wasn't involved in any chances, but he actually won 85% of his ground duels. And he was playing deeper, right? He was playing more as a sort of 10 up against McAllister and that as well. I'm pretty sure that McAllister's 12 duels were probably largely against Solanke and Pape Sarr. So, yeah, Richarlison out is a big problem. But you know what? Keep him fit. Like rest him for the Forest game. Need him back for the Forest game. He'll probably score in the Forest game. But, you know, look, Kolo Muani looked good when he came on. You know, and I think this is an important conversation point, which you haven't had. I've only got 12 more minutes, by the way, because I'm going over to Football Inc. In fact, I need to grab the Football Inc. link and set up the redirect. Johnny and I are going on to Football Inc. at 2 o'clock. Let me just get this quickly. What am I doing here? 1 second, people. There you go. So stay with us in 10 minutes. We'll go over and talk about it. Talk about other games as well with Johnny Boy. But what was I saying? Yeah, Kolo Muani. I think he played well when he came on. Obviously, very instrumental in the goal, right? He wins that. He wins the sort of duel with whoever it was he was up against. I forget for that particular duel. Then controls the bounce, double taps it on his thigh. And then plays in a lovely pass to Richarlison, and Richarlison sends it home. We get the game. I was about to go on to a different point then. Richarlison, Muani, I thought was actually very, very invested, and I don't know what to make of that. Right, he was dropped for a 19-year-old left back to play on the right side. Did he play well because he was pissed off? Because it was like a reminder that your position isn't safe? Did he play well because he's only really got 25, 30 minutes in him and he can put all of his energy into that final stint? Or was it just a little bit of like good fortune that the ball fell in that way? I actually thought he had a good shift when he came on, not just in the goal, but in the other minutes that he had as well. You know, I thought he had a good impact, Kinsky. I thought he had a good impact. And I do think he respects Tudor as well, Spurs King, 100%. I do think he respects Tudor. I hope all the players have a little bit more respect for him. I really do. So I just think it's a bit of tough love, right? I think some of the things he said, as I've said it to you guys for a few days now, like I'm not going to carry on banging on about this, but I think he's absolutely spot the fuck on with what he said about the victim thing. And I hope that the fact that they didn't play victim yesterday, they didn't cry, they got up, they fought, they battled. I really hope that he found some way of communicating and say, this is what I was talking about. This is what I meant. And look what you did. Like realize that, like recognize, acknowledge how good you feel right now because of the effort that you put in. And I hope that sort of thing can land on those players. Some of them it will, some of them it won't. Right? Xavi Simons dropped again, didn't play again. I thought Xavi Simons came in, I thought he did okay. I thought Xavi Simons did all right. Still find him a little bit selfish at times. I think he picks the wrong decision at times. Xavi Simons breaks through in the 94th minute, I think it was. And he has the chance. Now, it would have been difficult. But there's two Liverpool players, Virgil van Dijk and Gomez, I think it was, that are charging back. Obviously, you've got Alisson there as well. But there was a corridor. If he hits that ball first time and he pings it, I know he hasn't got a left foot. So, unfortunately, he can't, right? Which is, again, you're supposed to be this, like, world-class kid, you know, top talent. But you're entirely right-footed playing off the left. So, when you do run down that side, you're always going to cut back in. And then you ruin the moment. If you did have a left foot that you could work on, he could have whipped that across first time. There was a corridor there where he could have whipped it. And if he got it right, Kolo Muani was at the back post, Brennan Johnson-esque. He really was. Like if that was Harry Kane or Sonny or someone like that back in the day, they would have been able to have whipped that across because both of those players were competent with their left foot. And then you might have had a Brennan Johnson backdoor Johnson moment. To steal the points, 2-1, 95th minute, would have been unbelievable. Would have been scenes of epic proportions. Didn't happen. He pulls it back, cuts back in, and then tries to have a shot, and it kind of fluffs into nothingness. But yeah, I thought Xavi was okay. I think he's a little bit limited, and I don't know whether he buys into Tudor. The fact that he hasn't played in the last 3 or 4 games or been a starter, does that represent he's one of the guys that Tudor doesn't think has the mentality or plays victim or whatever else? He's not happy and he's not buying into it. Also, like I said at the start, I haven't really mentioned this yet. And I've deliberately saved it for the end. Have I got anything else I want to talk to you about, by the way, before I do? Micky van der Ven. So according to this podcast, and it is on Twitter, Micky van der Ven is the player that's walking around telling everyone, I don't care if we go down. I've instructed my agent to speak to Barcelona. Do you know what, guys? First and foremost, if that's true, it leaves it's a really sad thing because I've got Micky van der Ven on 2 shirts, one on my wall and one in the back there. Right, I've got Micky van der Ven on both my white shirt and my black shirt. Pisses me off because I loved him. I loved him under the Ange system. But you know what I would say? Apart from the petulance, apart from that attitude, apart from that arrogance, apart from that carelessness and that kind of disdain for the fans, I would also make the argument that I think he has been exposed in the last 12 months as not being anywhere near as good a defender as people thought he was under the Ange system, because he always had that ability to get us out of jail, right? High lines, you know, someone breaks through, let Micky get the afterburners on, and he was very good at slide tackling from behind and clearing things out, right? Absolutely sensational. He's not a good aerial. He doesn't have good aerial prowess. His positional sense stinks. Clearly, his attitude is questionable. If that's true, by the way, verging on appalling. I don't think he's good zonally. He's not good from corners defensively. Yes, he scored a couple of goals for us this season, 100%. I'll give that credit where it's due. And I think he's good at carrying the ball, but I think he does it in risky situations. So his ability to determine the right time to do that and not is poor. And his temperament clearly is like I say, is questionable, right? So, and he's injury prone. So for me, I don't think he's £100 million player. He might be £100 million player in a team that continues to do the high line stuff. He might be. So you put him in a Real Madrid team, you put him in a Barcelona team, you put him in a Manchester City team, you put him in those sorts of teams. His ability to get him out of trouble is fantastic. But I don't think he's anything like £100 million player when you look at defensive reinforcements, when you look at structure, when you look at aerial positioning, aerial strength generally. I don't think he's that sort. I don't think he's that good. Well, on Savage Show last night, we were talking about Van Hecker. You know, his stats are fantastic. I love Van Heck, right? Unbelievable. I'd take Branthwaite from Everton all day long. All day long, if we stay up. I'd replace him with that guy. You know? So if Micky van der Ven wants to go, and if it's true, again, big if, I don't know, I'm just saying allegedly lots and lots of people were saying this on Twitter and on those podcasts, and I don't have any insight on this one. So, but if it's true that he is the rat, he's the guy that's walking around saying, I don't care, I'm out of here anyway, then fuck him, first and foremost. And secondly, I think that if we can get £100 million for the guy, then, or 85 million, whatever, 90 million quid for him, take it, because I just don't think that he's that good, especially not in a team that is probably not going to go back to a high line style very quickly. You know, unless you bring in a Roberto De Zerbi, and De Zerbi does, you know, Roberto De Zerbi's got his own style of football that at times can look incredibly aggressive and incredibly high line-ish. But if Micky van der Ven has shown that disrespect to the football club, if he has, then I'm on board selling it. I don't know if he has, but if he has, then I'm on board selling him. Get as much money as you can, sell him at peak value. I'm pretty sure that when Vinay was talking about, you know, in the FAB minutes that he knew was going to get out to everybody else, when he was saying, like, we're going to have to sell players in the summer and blaming Daniel Levy for that. No, I think we're going to have to sell some of those. I think he's prepping us for those sorts of players to leave, because those sorts of players have basically said, I want out. Let me go, you know? And I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it, because if we were to sell Romero and sell Micky van der Ven, you know, you could probably get yourself 150 million quid for those two players. In a world where we stay up, in a world where you go down, maybe you don't get quite as much, even though I don't think the relegation should affect the value of a player. Why should a team get paid? Why should a buying team pay less for a player that's like, he's not going down with the ship, he's going to leave and go play for you, right? So I don't understand why the value drops like on a logic train, just because you're going to keep the player, especially if that player's got a wage cut in his contract. And Micky van der Ven's not on big money. So it's not like keeping Micky van der Ven is going to be too expensive for Tottenham. It's just whether having an unhappy player is worth it. But that doesn't mean that you drop 30 million quid on his valuation just because other teams think that they can push that needle. Not for me. That's where negotiations and strategy come into it. But if you can sell in a world where we stay up and you get 150 million quid for those two, and it might look like Pedro Porro wants to go as well. There's rumours out this morning that Pedro Porro, you know, he wants to leave, and Manchester City are looking at him and thinking he's a good right back for how we would use him, which I like Pedro Porro as a player. He's limited in his capabilities in certain departments. He's not in others. You know, Trent Alexander-Arnold, fantastic right back for Liverpool. Would Trent Alexander-Arnold be a fantastic right back playing for Burnley? Of course not, right? Because like horses for courses, you know? So it is what it is. It is what it is. Let me know your score predictions, guys, for tomorrow night's game. Oh, well, it's Wednesday. Don't even bother with the score predictions. We'll do that. We'll do that tomorrow. Or we'll do it on Wednesday. We've got loads of time for that. In just right now, I'm going to leave, guys, but stay where you are. I'll say a massive thank you. Oh shit, I haven't done all the super chats. My bad. Stay where you are, though, guys. We'll do this, then we're going to go straight across to see Football Link, and we'll carry on the conversation. It's going to be mainly about Tottenham over there as well. Johnny was on one last night when he came on the show, so I'm sure he's gonna be on one again today. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. A user says, "Play well, keep your place, earn it, no guarantees." 100%. That's the conversation I wanted to have right now, was regarding about whether or not Van der Ven gets back into the team for Wednesday night. So we'll take that over to speak with Johnny about it. Big up to you, mate. A user said, "Best to keep Tudor. We are too far gone to change." Well, we're not right now, but we will be if we wait until after the Forest game, in my opinion. But I don't think you can probably sack Tudor. I don't think the club aren't sacking Tudor right now. So it's a done deal. Big up to you, mate. Tottenham's Lone Wolf. Big up to you, Tottenham's Lone Wolf. Thank you very much indeed. Very generous. He says, do you think that because of circumstance, the way Tudor is viewed badly? What I mean is 20 minutes of madness against Atletico Madrid and Micky being sent off just after we scored. I feel like we showed fight those games. Oh, it's Mia. Oh, hi, Mia. I didn't recognize your name. Hi, Mia. Big up to you, Mia. How are you? How are you, miss? You donut. You big donut. I do think that Igor Tudor is viewed badly because of circumstances that are a little bit out of his control, but I also think he's been viewed badly because of things that were in his control. The way that he handled the Kinsky situation wasn't cool in how he took him off. And I think some of his strategic decisions have been very questionable. And because they haven't worked out, people are always going to look at the result, reverse engineer the decisions and say, there you go. Just like if we'd lost yesterday, even if we lost 1-0, but certainly if we lost 2 or 3-0, people would have gone, you can't play Sousa at right wing. And maybe I'm saying this because it worked out that we got a point, but I actually can understand the logic of thinking we want square pegs in square holes. Now, you might say that Sousa's not a square peg in a square hole playing right wing, but having a left-footed right winger that can cut in, well, that is a square peg, square hole as an option, because we don't have a right winger right now, really, apart from Kolo. And Kolo, has done okay, but hasn't really in all situations. And so you could make the strategic argument that left backs that are aggressive and going forward that aren't great defensively, they can play right wing, as we've seen with players. There's plenty of players that have transitioned from left back or left wing back to right wing forward, especially those that really go for it. There's a guy called Diouf at West Ham. You could make the argument he could possibly do that because he is so offensive, but so absolutely catastrophic defensively. Although maybe you couldn't because he's not technical. He's just a fast guy. But you get the point. Actually, you wouldn't do it with him at all. He's far better at left. He's a brilliant crosser with his left foot. Anyway, I ramble. We got to go. Big up to you, Mia. Thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate you. Swigs Talk Spurs says, if we beat Atletico, does that warrant him to stay? If we beat Atletico, if we win the draw, if we win the overall tie, 100%. If we win the game but lose overall, I think you're still going to give him the game against Forest then 100%. Yeah, I think so. I think the only way that he doesn't, that maybe the whole argument about sacking him comes up again is if we get absolutely smashed by Atletico Madrid, which as I said earlier, it might happen because we have to go everything all gung-ho. We have to. And so Atletico Madrid have got players that can really hurt us on the counter. Adamoto Lookman, Julian Alvarez, Thiago Almada, they got dozens of opportunities to be options to be able to hurt us on the counter, and that's what they're going to have. So we might win the game 2-0, we might win the game 3-0, we might win the game 4-0, but we might also lose the game 3-0 if we don't take our chances and we get picked off and it goes tits up. But that's what's going to happen on Wednesday. It will be interesting, and surely if we are winning the game at half time, if we're 1-0 up or 2-0 up at half time, it's going to be a belter of a second half. And I'm excited, I'm engaged, and I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you guys are too. Big up to you, Swigsy. Thank you very much. And Rain, I'm a data guy, right? Big up to you, Rainy. He says, don't even like donuts, too doughy. I do like jam, though. I'm a donut guy, but don't take the fucking jam out of my donut, Rain, all right? Or you're going to be on my naughty list. Appreciate you all. Stay where you are. Appreciate everyone. Like, subscribe, and comment, and stay where you are. We're going to go straight over to the football link to carry on the conversation. And as always, bye-bye.